If you plant these 5 shrubs this fall, then by spring, your garden will feel like a quiet temple path, with evergreen bones, soft blooms, and calm, cloud-shaped silhouettes waiting at the door. Today we're reviewing next spring's Zen garden, now with 5 full-planted essentials. Boxwoods, for cloud pads and structure. Japanese holly, it's a boxwood look-alike that clips nice and clean. Pieris japonica, the tiered evergreen with early bells. Satsuki Azaleas, creates low mounds, refined, branching and spring blooming. And Dwarf Juniper, the ground-hugging textures around stones and lanterns. Full planting lets roots settle while the air is cool, so these shrubs wake up strong when maples leaf out. I'll show you where each one shines. Paths, entry frames, mossy stone edges, plus simple soil, mulch, and spacing tips, so your spring scene reads calm and intentional. Evergreen structure first, seasonal color second. First, let's start with the boxwoods. Picture your boxwoods as little calm clouds that show people where to walk. If we're lining a path, I like to tuck each plant 18 to 24 inches back from the walkway, so it won't elbow you as it fills in. Or are you framing an entry? A matching pair on either side of the steps or gate gives that quiet, welcoming temple path vibe. If you plant them along bed edges, don't march them in a dead straight line, stagger them slightly so it feels natural around stones and moss. Size-wise, the green velvets tops out around 3 to 4 feet wide and about 3 feet tall. If you want a connected low hedge, set them 30 to 36 inches on center. If you prefer individual clouds with a little breathing room, go 42 to 48 inches. They're happiest with morning sun and afternoon shade, but full hot afternoons can scorch leaves in winter. For the soil, the only non-negotiable is good drainage. Plant them with the root flare. Level with the soil. Don't bury the stem. And if you've got clay, mix in fine bark and a scoop of perlite to loosen things up. Right after planting, give a deep soak once a week while the weather stays mild. Water a bit more if it's unusually dry. Then lay a 2 to 3 inch mulch ring to lock in moisture. Just keep mulch about 3 inches away from the stems. Shaping them is easy. In the late winter or very early spring, lightly tip prune to round the foliage into soft pads. Think of it as little touches more often, not big haircuts. Doing containers instead? Grab a pot 16 to 20 inches wide, or bigger, with real drainage holes. Use a quality potting mix, water deeply, and do that same gentle tip prune at winter's end. Follow this, and your boxwoods will become the calm backbone of the garden. Tidy, soft, and very zen with almost no drama. Next is the Japanese holly. Think of Japanese holly as boxwood's easy cousin. It clips clean, stays tidy, and gives that calm, fine leaf texture beginners love. If you're laying out a path, we like Compacta or Helleri as low rounded guides. Set them 18 to 24 inches back from the walkway so they don't crowd your ankles as they fill in. If you are framing an entry, use sky pencil as 2 slim sentinels on either side of the steps or gate. They're tall and narrow, so place each one about 20 to 24 inches from the step edge and 3 to 4 feet apart, center to center, for a graceful temple path feel. Along bed edges and corners, tuck Compacta or Helleri in a soft stagger, not a ruler straight line, so they flow around stones, lanterns, and moss. For spacing, here's the simple rule. Want a connected low hedge? For Compacta or Helleri, plant 24 to 30 inches on center. And for the sky pencil version, plant 18 to 24 inches apart. Light and soil are beginner friendly, So morning sun to light afternoon shade is perfect, but hot, full afternoon sun can stress young plants. They're happiest in well-drained, slightly acidic to neutral soil. When you plant them, keep the root flare level with the soil. Don't bury the stem. Water deeply, then add a 2 to 3 inch mulch ring, leaving about 3 inches bare around the stems. Shaping is easy, just a light tipper prune in late winter or early spring to keep the mounds rounded and the columns crisp. If you're using containers, pick a pot 16 to 20 inches wide with real drainage holes. Use quality potting mix and follow the same water mulch tip prune routine. Do that and your Japanese holly will give you calm structure all year with almost no drama. Third is the Pieris japonica, also known as the Japanese andromeda. Think of Pieris as your evergreen poetry plant. Those layered leaves and little bell flowers make everything around it look more composed. Picture the Pieris as a gentle backdrop that makes your maples, lanterns and stones pop. We like it in bright morning sun with afternoon shade, tucked near a path bend at the corner of an entry, or under the light canopy of a maple works well. It also looks great beside a Toro lantern or tsukubai because the tiered foliage frames those features without stealing the show. Skip full, hot afternoon sun. That's when the leaves can scorch. For soil and planting, keep it simple. Pieris is an acid lover. Use a mix that drains well and leans slightly acidic. Think pine bark, fines, plus a bit of compost. But avoid lime. Set the plant with the root flare level with the soil. Don't bury the stem. Water deeply after planting. Then add a 2 to 3 inch mulch ring. Remember to keep mulch a few inches off the stems. Spacing on Pieris japonicas often require 4 to 5 feet on center, so the tiers can open up. Compact or dwarf types finish 2 to 3 feet in diameter. So, space 3 to 4 feet apart if you want them to touch softly, or 4 to 5 feet apart if you want distinct sculpted mounds. If you plan on using them as a backdrop row behind azaleas or boxwood clouds, plant 4 feet on center and stagger them slightly, but not so much like a strict ruler line, for a natural rhythm. Remember to keep soil evenly moist the first season. Pieris hates soggy feet, but doesn't like to fully dry out either. Feed them lightly in early spring with an acid-loving fertilizer if your soil is neutral. Do this and your Pieris becomes the quiet, evergreen canvas that makes the rest of your Zen scene, stones, moss, lanterns and maples, feel composed and calm. The fourth shrub to plant would be Satsuki Azaleas. Think of Satsuki Azaleas as the little accent pillows of a Zen garden, low, rounded and elegant when everything else is quiet. For their placement, they love bright morning sun with afternoon shade. We like to tuck them at the inside of a path bend so their mounds guide your eye, or flanking a Toro lantern where their tidy shape frames the stone without stealing attention. They're perfect next to a maple canopy, and they soften bed corners beautifully, so the garden doesn't feel boxy. If you're dressing up an entry, place a pair just beyond your gate or steps, so they read as a calm welcome, but set them far enough back so they won't brush your ankles as they grow. Keep their care simple. Satsukis are acid lovers. Use a well-drained, slightly acidic mix, such as pine bark fines plus a bit of compost, but no lime, just like the Pieris, japonicas, and plant with the root flare level with the soil. Don't bury the stem. After they finish blooming in late spring, do any light shaping then. Just tip prune to keep those neat mounds. Hard pruning later can cut off next year's flowers. Do this, and your Satsuki will quietly anchor the scene. Compact, refined, and ready to light up late spring with flowers. And the fifth and final one is the Dwarf Juniper. Think of dwarf junipers as the living moss mats that you never have to baby. They stay low, creep gently, and make stones, lanterns, and paths look intentional. Picture your scene from the ground up. We use dwarf juniper anywhere we want, that calm, ground-hugging texture. Around a toro lantern base, between stepping stones, or spilling over a low boulder or wall. They're perfect for the outer edge of a bed, where you want a soft evergreen line, and they look great near a sukubai as a dry shoreline. If you've got a sunny slope or berm, even better. Junipers loves to cascade, and it drains fast. They're sun lovers. Aim for full sun, at least 6 hours. The only hard rule is good drainage. No soggy spots. If your soil is heavy, mound it up a bit and mix in grit or fine bark so water moves through. Juniper is drought tough once established, so avoid sprinkler overspray if you can. Most dwarf juniper forms stay 6 to 12 inches tall and can spread 3 to 6 feet over time. Water them deeply after planting, then let the soil dry a bit between waterings. Junipers hate wet feet. Add a thin gravel or bark mulch too, but no piled mulch against the stems. After the first season, watering needs will drop way down eventually. To shape your junipers, skip the shearing. Once or twice a year, pinch or snip long runners and lightly thin them inside to keep that natural cloud-like flow around stones. Think, tidy the edges, and not give it a haircut. Follow these tips, and dwarf juniper becomes your effortless green carpet, quiet, neat, and the perfect backdrop for maples, moss, and stone. And that's our full game plan. 5 quiet workhorses you can plant now for a zen garden that wakes up ready in spring. Boxwood for those calm cloud pads. Japanese holly for clean lines. Or slim sky pencil sentinels. Pieris japonica as the evergreen poetry backdrop. Satsuki Azalea as the soft accent pillows that bloom in late spring. And dwarf juniper for that effortless living moss carpet around stones and lanterns. Plant them once, place them with intention, and they'll do the heavy lifting while you sip tea and enjoy the view. So, here is a quick recap. Full planting and warm soil, plus cool air equals root growth while the tops rest for the season. Remember, morning sun, afternoon shade for Pieris, Azalea, Boxwood, and most hollies. Full sun for dwarf junipers though. With soil, it's always drainage first. For clay, loosen with bark fines plus a scoop of perlite. Keep Pieris and Azalea slightly acidic. For planting height, set the root flare level with the soil. Never bury the stems. Make sure to water and mulch. Deep soak weekly while weather's mild. Add a 2 to 3 inch mulch ring, keeping about 3 inches bare around stems. Now with pruning, light tip prune in late winter or early spring for boxwood and hollies. After bloom for satsukis, and skip any heavy chops on all 5 shrubs. If you are planting in containers, use real drainage holes, a quality mix, and the same water mulch tip prune routine. Hopefully, this was helpful. Please remember to also subscribe and tap like to help us grow our unique community out there. We will see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.